Welcome back to the Michael Baisden Show. We were talking about the crab in the barrel mentality today, and I thought the best person to have on the show, at least one of the best people to have on the show, was Dr. Dennis Kimbro, author of the book Think and Grow Rich. And I want to ask you right out the gate, Dr. Kimbro, in order to be successful, you got to overcome a lot of negativity. What do you write about or speak about when it comes to overcoming that?
Well, you're in control of your thoughts, Michael. I'm sorry, that is something that you can control. You can allow what goes in and what goes out. Now, you're alluding to the fact of the crab in the barrel mentality. Those are individuals who are obsessed with lack or scarcity. I mean, when our Creator does something, he or she does something big. There is no lack, there is no scarcity unless you focus in on that. 3,300 years ago, Moses went to the burning bush and he said, "Who should I tell him that sent me?" And the response was, "I am that I am." In other words, how you answer that question, Michael, I am what? I am sick. I am poor. I am homeless. That will be your outcome. So there's no limit. You just got to be very particular who you associate with and who you place in your inner circle.
One of the reasons why I decided to write about relationships in the first place with all of my books is that I saw relationships as being very important in becoming successful. Friendships, who you get involved with, who you marry, who you date. How does all that factor in?
I mean, you can't get anything done through people. The average individual knows 270 other folks. That's how many people will show up to your funeral if the weather is clear. So anything that you do and above and beyond of your mind and your imagination, your dream and your purpose will be done with and through and by people. So make sure that you're very particular, like I said, in terms of your association. Meet two new people per week in your area, in your specialty, along your line of your dream. I tell friends and colleagues and my business students all the time, go find out who's coming to town. And I'm so glad we'll talk about you coming to town soon. But go find out who's coming to town, who's giving a luncheon, who's giving a lecture, and go out and listen to that person. Not so much that you want to listen and take notes to what he or she is saying, but you want to go attend that conference, that networking session, to meet the individual standing, seated in front of you, seated behind you, and to your left and to your right. You want to grow your circle of influence.
There's nothing more important, I think, for anybody who's serious about getting ahead than networking with the right people. As you get older, Dr. Kimbro, the party thing is fine, but you want to party with a purpose, don't you?
Oh, without a doubt. And that's one thing that we got to change that paradigm as a race. In between have and have not, the rich, the poor, when it comes to networking, it's all business. When you look at the have not, when you look at those who are on the other end of the spectrum financially, when it comes to networking, it's all social and partying. We have to change that paradigm. And the thing now today is, looking at the black community, we are probably the most least diverse or adverse diverse people out there. So go meet new friends and new cultures. Go meet new friends of new colors that can help you narrow your zone of ignorance.
Oh man, you can say that again. Whenever I have an opportunity to bend the ear of somebody who's traveled, which is one of the things that I miss more than anything else, is travel, because I know you can broaden your mind a lot and come up with a lot of ideas just experiencing different cultures. How important is travel in business?
And again, we don't do that. You got to travel. And I'm not saying go overseas. I'm just saying, hey, listen, go over to the next county. Go to the next city. Go over to the next state. Go anywhere where you can learn and you can grow and develop, because now the world is flat. All you got to do is look at read Thomas Friedman's book, The World is Flat. The fact of the matter is that I look at the university. I teach at Clark Atlanta. The next school over is Georgia Tech. Mm-hmm. Last September, Georgia Tech admitted, listen to this, Michael, admitted 900 students from China. Of those 900 students from China, 500, more than half of them, brought in perfect SAT scores.
Wow.
Now, how in the world are you going to compete with that if you don't take in the information, if you don't sharpen your skills, if you don't narrow your zone of ignorance, if you don't read and study and take your brand to the next level? Somewhere, somebody else is. And the day you meet that other person, you lose.
I want to talk about Think and Grow Rich. I mean, the whole concept behind the book, and it's done very well. It's one of the first books I read when I started opening my mind up. What is the most important lesson that you're trying to get across to folks in that book?
You got to think. I mean, Michael, everything occurs to you twice in life. The inner, the outer, the thought, the thing, the mental, then the physical. You have got to think. You have got to be still and think. And we speak to God through prayer, but God speaks to us through intuition. That's all a part of thinking. we fished all day and we haven't caught a thing. Well, cast your nets on the right side. What is right side? Take time to sit down, get in your quiet space, and work out your own salvation. But the bottom line is that we have got to think. We have got to change that paradigm, that E to E ratio, Michael. We are stooped and steeped in entertainment. When you look at the E to E ratio, what we spend in terms of education and what we spend on entertainment, it is so skewed. I mean, the average individual in our society is about 50 to 1. For every hour, every dollar they spend in education, they spend 50 hours or $50 in entertainment. But in the black community, it's 200 to 1. Now, I'm not saying narrow it down to 100 to 1 or narrow it down to 50 to 1, but knock it down 10 points. Narrow it down to 150 to 1. In other words, read a book a day, or not even a book a day, read an hour a day. You read an hour a day, that's a book a week. That's 50 books a year.
That's right.
And that will put you on the fast track.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Dennis Kimbro, looking forward to going to speak at Clark Atlanta University. I cannot thank you enough, Dr. Kimbro. Don't forget to check out the book, Think and Grow Rich. All the information on Dr. Kimbro is on Baisden Live on Twitter and Baisden Live on Facebook.